I seen him do it right in front of my eyes. He used to he was trained from a child though with really strange stuff, and he'd go to these. He went to all these conventions and stuff with Patrick Flanagan, where Patrick Flanagan was doing stuff back there with back in the day with Pyramid Power and all this stuff. His mother would take him to these things when he was a kid, so he was trained from a child in the strange arts. So. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. He's the one who showed me a lot of stuff. Really weird things like telekinesis and things like that.
It's definitely not something that happens every day, walking through a wall. But I didn't tell the ending part. When we walked back into the janitor's closet, right? So then I see the janitor standing there. He's still frozen, and then let's see what happened next. There was more communication between me and the being, and I don't remember what he was saying, but there was communication, and I just remember being aware of the janitor, and seeing that the janitor was not totally switched off. That he had an expression on his face. He was looking at us. I could see he was lucid. He wasn't moving, but he was lucid. And then the alien left again, turned into a ball of light, teleported through the wall. And the janitor came back, too, totally woke up. And I just looked at him and got the hell out of there. I walked out because I was just totally... I was half still in the trance state or something. I was just like going automatically, you know, and I just wanted to get out of there because I was afraid at that point. And the next day is when the janitor came up to me, and he told me, he said, hey, I need to talk to you. Pulled me aside, and he said, I saw you yesterday coming through that wall with that strange creature. He said, what was that? Do you know what's going on? There's something going on. He said, you're in danger. And he was scared, man. He was like shaking. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, that's pretty freaky, man. When you think you might have been dreaming it or something, or then somebody tells you they saw it.
That's
wow.
It's like, because, you know, I have past experiences, right? So then I have a reference for it, so I'm accustomed to it. Like when an event like that would happen, all of a sudden I'd remember the past events, and then it would go away, and I would have this periodic awareness where it would go away. But in that particular day, though, after that same day when it happened, the actual ending of the event was I walked down the hallway. When I was going up the staircase to get back to the classroom, the class bell rang. And then all the kids came down the stairwell, and I remember this one kid who was always used to give me a hard time and criticize me about stuff. I really didn't like this kid, and he stopped me on the steps, and he accused me of like cutting class. And I said, "What are you talking about? I just left the class to take a 5-minute bathroom break. I just thought 5 minutes had gone by." And he said, "You left the classroom 40 minutes ago." He said the next the period was over, and I think the whole next period had finished too. I had lost like 40, 50 minutes of time.
It's wild how Wolfman, during the middle of school.
Yeah.
During the middle of school.
I mean, Adam's got a story, I don't know if he wants to tell it tonight, where there was I'm pretty sure, I'm just totally shortening the story, but if he wants to tell the longer version where he recalls pretty much the whole classroom, there was a UFO that landed out of the schoolyard. And
oh my God.
The whole classroom saw it. Was that the same event or during a different time, Adam, when that experience happened?
Oh, that was a totally different event. Yeah, that was another day. Another time. No, actually, I was much younger. That was when I was 8 years old. The walking through the walls when I was like 13. Yeah, that was during the day.
Tell Wolfman what happened when you were 8, because that was a mind blower.
Yeah.
You even drew pictures of that and posted it on your site for a while. Do you still have those up?
I deleted my old YouTube. No, I don't have them up, but they're going to be up for the interview.
For the show?
Okay, they'll be up somewhere. I sent him all those drawings.
Right on.
Yeah, he's got that. But, yeah, did you just want me to give you a real brief?
Yeah, go for it. I mean, as long as you're awake, tell the story.
I'm thinking I'm going to play a song first because I need a short break because I was working my ass off in between the two shows to get it back on the air, so I got to take a little break. Is that okay with you guys?
Yeah.
I'm just going to play a song that'll give us like 5 minutes, and then we'll be right back.
Cool.
And this is the B-52s. Yeah, man. Rockin' with the Wolfman on Monster Castle Paranormal Radio. I guess it did end. It's a good thing I checked. Wow. Too many things going on at once here. I got Anthony Barnet, I believe, from France. He likes to give me some news items, and he's posted some news items on our Facebook, so if anyone wants to go and check that out. That's pretty cool stuff. The grandfather.
So is Anthony Barnet on the show right now, or he just posted some stuff on the site?
He's on Twitter.
Okay.
And yeah, he posted some stuff on our Facebook page, which is Monster Castle Paranormal. You find it on Facebook real easily. So, yeah. What the hell?
Is he posting it in the hashtag 47talk? You remind him to put the hashtag 47talk on anything he posts so we could see it faster.
Oh, I think I know what I did wrong. I think I cut the song off when I went to check the Facebook. Yeah, it cut off. Yeah, I know what I did now. Yeah, oops, my bad. Trying to do too many things at once.
Yeah.
And I'm getting starting to feel the effects of the beer. Drink another one, Wolf, man. Yeah. I cut off Planet Claire by the B-52s. How could you do that?
That was a killer song too. I was starting to groove on that one.
Man. Let's see.
Adam, you like music? Don't you play a lot of music, Adam, occasionally?
Oh yeah, I did. I cut the ending off on that song.
Man, I heard, I have 5 brothers and sisters growing up. I heard all the bands from the classic era of rock.
Yeah, you're. I think you're our age. You're close to near 50, aren't you? Pretty much.
I'm 54.
Yeah.
Just turned 54.
Are you the oldest or youngest? I forget. You might have mentioned before. I don't remember.
I'm the second to the youngest. I've got an older sister who's 60.
Wow. What about you? I don't know if you've ever talked about your sister. Do you guys ever discuss this, or does she have any experiences that you know of, or how does that work?
She has had 1 or 2 experiences which are not as incredible as mine. We have discussed it. She has a family, and she has kids in college, and so she's real busy. We don't see each other a lot, but we have discussed it in the past. When she had a, I helped with multiple abductions, so I remember being taken with her when she was a teenager, and I remember very vividly her being taken out of the room, but we never discussed that. Like, she never said that she had memories, although she told me that she had a bout with sleepwalking. When she was a teenager, all of a sudden she started waking up. She'd be outside the house. She couldn't figure out. She had no memory of going outside of the house. And just this weird sleepwalking. And it was just for a period, and then it stopped. That was my older sister. But,
what about you, Wolf, man? Do you have any brothers and sisters? I mean, you have a brother, if I remember right, Wolf?
I got an older brother who's really skeptical about all this stuff and makes fun of me. And I got a younger brother who has had probably just as many experiences as me or more, but doesn't want to talk about it. He might text me stuff to say on the air, but he does not want to talk about it publicly on the air. And my mother, too, same way, has told me not to reveal my last name. She doesn't want anybody knowing the family name, and she doesn't want to be bothered about her experiences as well, because she has experiences that go way back. She said when she was pregnant for me, she had a recurring dream. There's a spaceship coming down, landing in the backyard, and alien Greys coming into the bedroom and standing there watching her while she's sleeping all night long, every night.
Wow.
Every night. And when I was born, the dream stopped.
Wow. What about you, Adam? Do you have any recollection of anything like that? Or
in the family, other family members?
Yeah, or maybe any kind of experiences along those lines as far as your mother and all that?
Oh, yeah. You know what? Going back to my grandmother on my mother's side, now, this story I heard my grandmother, now she's passed away since, but I've heard her tell the story several times. When my grandmother was pregnant with my mother, she swears that this is absolutely true. And I heard her tell the story, and her emotion was really powerful when she told the story. She believed what she was saying. She had a visitation in the middle of the night. She woke up. She was pregnant with my mother. She was 9 months pregnant, almost ready to have the baby. And she says that she saw her mother in human form walk into the room, come over to the bed. She said she wasn't afraid. Her mother put her hand on her stomach and said the baby will be okay. and she felt real peaceful. She was talking about my mother. That was the pregnancy of my mother.
So it was your great-grandmother that somehow appeared in the room over your grandmother before your grandmother had your mother. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. And I didn't, I heard her tell that story when I was a kid, and then years later, when Bud, talked about having cases where Bud Hopkins, cases where the alien beings will make themselves appear as deceased relatives, and I was like, man, maybe that's what that was. Maybe that wasn't really a ghost, but an actual screen memory for an abduction, because they were concerned about the baby. Because they say that word for word, the baby will be okay,
Wow.
Concerned about the baby. So that was my grandmother's side. Yeah.
Wow. Have you guys, either one of you two, see, like for me personally, if I had gone through these experiences that you guys have gone through, and John Polk, and even Tiffany and other, lots of people, have you tried to research as far as going back to try to like put the pieces together, or you just roll with it? I mean, you know what I mean? I don't know if that's a good question or not. I'm just trying to think about how that would be.
I have really, I'm a big procrastinator, and I have social anxiety, so for me, it's been frustrating because I've always wanted to go and do a big investigation, try to collect witnesses, go back, talk to people. I've tried to do that. I never could pull it off. I never had the money to do it or the time, but I want to do that, But I mean, as far as just sitting down and just vetting it, I mean, just write everything down. I have it all written down, to document it in my memories.
By the way,
a lot of people. Go ahead, Wolf. I'm sorry.
I just want to remind people. By the way, this is an open lines show. If anyone wants to talk to me or Adam or Eric, just call in. You can call in at 775-990-8447, or you can find me on Skype. The easiest way is to actually search for my now you don't get a Twitter name anymore. I mean a Skype name anymore. You have to go by the email. So it's doesmike@outlook.com.
Or they could go into the Spreaker chat, or they can even go #47talk and get your attention that way, and then you can add them in also. If you want to,
yeah,
right?
If they give me their Skype name or their email Skype address, then I can find them and add them in. Yep, that's easier. Yep,
that works. Okay, so I remember what my question was going to be. So you guys, I think I talked to Adam briefly about this once before, but we didn't really get into a deep conversation. And I never think I ever talked to you about this, Wolf, but I know you're aware of this, the MyLab, which is the military abduction phenomena versus the true alien abduction phenomena. And it appears, and I can speculate how this is happening, but I don't know, obviously, but it appears that somehow there is a military aspect, which I don't know if it's the ET making the screen memory so that people think that there's some sort of military involved, so that when they do recall, that their logic and their reasoning and their conscious mind is going to say, oh, that was some sort of military experiment, or if the military somehow, whether it's a shadow government or whatever, or they're working with the reptilians, as crazy as that sounds, that might be true. I mean, do you guys have any speculations or any theories on that?
Adam?
Well, I have a memory of an event where I wasn't taken out of the house, but I was visited, and they weren't aliens. I don't want to say too much about it because it freaks me out to talk about it. I mean, it kind of scares me, the idea of the government, like the military coming after you. And I still have nightmares about like military helicopters. Like I used to be buzzed by like military helicopters. I mean, real low. And I'm not paranoid, but it was right around the time whenever I would start to talk, like when I was talking to Bud Hopkins, I'd get like this feeling like I was being watched and stuff, and I'd hear weird noises on the phone, like the phone was tapped or something. But I had an event where essentially what appeared to be like a frickin' SWAT team came in my house. I wasn't fully conscious. I was conscious for the beginning of it. I heard a helicopter outside the house, and I woke up in the middle of the night. And my memory was altered somehow, a little bit, but I was sort of half awake and half asleep. And they just stormed in, grabbed me, shot me in the neck with a needle, screamed in my face. They had looked like AK-47s, and they were just like, "Where is it? Where is it?" screaming at me. They were after this implant artifact that they thought I had, because it told Hopkins I had this implant artifact. It wasn't an actual implant, though. It was just a plug that was in my nose. I don't know what it was made of, if it was bodily materials or what. But I think that was a real event. It could have been aliens, a screen memory, like you say. And my point is, I really just don't know. I couldn't. I'd be guessing. I'd be speculating.
What was the question again, Eric?
Well, I mean, I guess it's Adam kind of answered it, but there is this. It's not talked about much on the radio or in the paranormal UFO ET conversations on shows that do these kind of topics. But the MyLab, they're just appear. I mean, okay, this is just a theory and it's speculative for me to even say this, but we talked about last week a little bit about the Pizzagate, and we didn't really talk about a lot about this whole satanic aspect of what's happening with the pedophilia and all that sort of stuff. But for me personally, I when I first heard about these things, I thought, what is this? How did this start happening? When did it start happening? What's this about? So I found this website. I don't know if it's still online anymore. It was called oneevil.org. It might be oneevil.net now, but it basically had the history of evil. That's what the word they used was evil, EVIL. And anyway, it just goes way, way back to all these things that we're hearing about now on the news with the Pizzagate and satanic worship and MyLab type abductions. It's been going on in different forms for many, many centuries. So it's just and then of course there are those people that believe that somehow in the 40s or the 50s, I think when Eisenhower was president, that the particular ET group came in and had some sort of a treaty agreement, a special meeting, and so if one type of ET race or multiple ET race are visiting and are working within our government or our shadow government.
Okay, I've seen a photograph one time that was very convincing, and I believe it was behind one of the presidents in the window of the White House. You can clearly see a little face through the window of a gray alien, and that was it was just random that somebody just found that. I don't think it was photoshopped or anything. It looked pretty damn real. I don't know how you do the effects of that. The glass looked. How do you Photoshop something behind the glass?
Yeah,
that's kind of tricky to do. You'd have to redo the shine on the glass and everything. I don't know how you would do that. That'd be really, really hard Photoshop. That one convinced
me. Here's what it seems might be happening is let's say, for example, there is this shadow government, as an example, and some sort of a cult type satanic twist to their whole agenda. So it's possible, it seems like, that somehow they know that certain people, however they learn this information, I don't know, but they know that certain people are getting abducted. They know that certain people, like Adam, for example, are going through these experiences. And then when they find out then somehow they interject themselves into the scenario or into the scene or into future experiences. Does that make any sense, or do you think that's even possible?
I don't think that the presidents or the prime ministers or anyone in power is actually in power at all. I think there's always been a dark governing power behind everything. That's what I think. It just makes sense to me. And these people they put in front of the public are just puppets. Because they never do anything different. They always say they're going to do it, but they don't really ever do anything different. They go this place and that place, shake hands with people. When do they have time to actually do the real politics? Because all they're doing is socializing.
Yeah, or eating pizza.
Yeah.
What about you, Adam? You got a take on that at all, or you have any thoughts on that?
Not really. I mean, I don't. Of course, I have opinions, but I don't have specific theories that I believe in. I think about that kind of stuff, like I speculate.
Yeah, I don't even want to get into the politics. I like where our show is going with just the weird alien encounters.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll say it this way. My overall view of what's going on is that the visitors view Earth as some sort of school or genetics lab. We're secondary to them. I don't think they're malevolent, but I'm agnostic, so I don't really take like an evil slant on it. Like, I don't really believe they're evil, although I do agree with you guys that...
You just read my mind, buddy. I was going to ask you that, whether they're malevolent or whether, and what's the most positive thing about your experiences? Did they give you any gifts?
Gifts? I don't... Physical gifts, like objects, or you mean just mental? Well, I don't know. The only thing they imparted on me always consistently, they're always telling me, you're part of us. We're watching over you. We're protecting you. They saved my life on multiple occasions. But then I look back and I go, well, maybe that's because they view me as their property and they just want to protect their asset. So I don't know if it's because I have that as abductees we're special as individuals, or we're just special because they own us and we're slaves, But I mean, they terrified me and they traumatized me. So I don't think for me, it's not overall positive. I don't think it's totally negative because I think I've felt emotion from them, like especially when I was a little kid, like genuine compassion. I felt that, and that's what I believe is they do have that, but so do humans, I always say that, like, humans can do really awful things, but have also great compassion for other people.
Even the evilest bastards can still pull up compassion once in a while. That's true.
Yeah.
And they imagine it the other way around, that's themselves there and not... once in a while it crosses their mind what they're doing. What if that was me on the other end of that? And then they'll actually have compassion for a brief second or two. Then they go back to their evil.
Darren had a good question in the chat. Has these abductions, Adam, well, let's just say your ET experiences, have they affected your potential relationships or maybe any kind of intimate relationship you might have with a woman, or you know what I mean? How does that affect your whole relationships with people?
Not really. It doesn't. I have my life, and sometimes it has, because there's these multiple abductions, and I've lost friendships. I've lost friends because it comes up. Like, I've had friends that saw UFOs, and then they don't want to talk about it, and then I'm like, oh, why don't you report it? And they're like, if you keep talking about this, I'm never going to talk to you again, that type of thing. But those were like friends. It never impacted really on a relationship. It just because I choose who to talk to about it, And I don't really talk about it that much. It's like if someone's a part of it and they see something and then it's inevitable, then you have to confront it. But it's interfered with when I started to remember all my memories at once, after having periodic awareness, when I read Intruders, it triggered my memory. And in 1993, I started talking to my family a lot about it, and they got crazy. They were like, "Stop talking about this." They just flipped out after a while.
Yeah.
They got so sick of hearing about it.
Yeah, I would say that not with women. I think women have always been very supportive of it, but not my family. They get sick of hearing about it. They don't want to hear about it. Especially my dad. He gets right pissed off. That's not real. Blah, blah, blah. He don't believe in any of that shit. So he doesn't want to hear about it. He doesn't. He just pisses him right off. Especially if I talk politics. That really pisses him off. That's why I don't like. Some people get really ticked about that and turns them right off when you tell political opinions, and that's why I like to keep my show like sort of not into the politics really. Abductions and that is cool. I don't think that it really had a negative impact on me. I would say that they wanted to communicate with me, and I should have stuck my hand inside that ball when it was floating in front of me. That's what I had the feeling, to stick my hand in there, and I never did, and I regret that. That wasn't me hiccuping, by the way, Mark. You heard a beer hiccup. I hear somebody clinking around stuff in the background, but I don't know.
I don't know what
that's Eric. I don't know what you're doing.
Well, that was me. The cat was outside the door meowing, so I had to open the door to let him in, but I'm sorry about that.
On the last show, we were hearing female voice here and there, and there's no explanation for that, and it gave me the creeps. And Jeff was actually, he said his hair stood on end, and he was actually scared for a minute there. That was weird. Yeah, I don't know what that was, but whoever it is, come back and talk to us. I want to hear it again. Who are you? What's your name? Come back.
Can I ask you a question, Wolfman?
Sure, man.
Have you ever had an experience where you'll be out during the day and you hear like a whispering in your ear?
All the time. I have that all the time. I have someone calling my name, and I look and there's nobody there. Especially, and we talked about this before, if there's like power tools on or someone's running a vacuum cleaner, then I hear all kinds of stuff and weird music and all kinds of weird stuff. If there's
I do too. Yeah, I have. Sometimes in the morning, if I'm mostly awake, I might be in a slightly sleep state still, waking up slowly, but really, sometimes I will hear a voice whispering, and I can just barely make out what they're saying. And it freaks me out, because I'm not sure if it's part of the encounter experience or if that's the dream or what that is, but sometimes a person will hear it during the day. I've heard abductees say during the day when they're wide awake. When I was a kid in school, sometimes I'd hear this weird electronic beeping in my ears, like a computer. And this was in the 70s. And I asked my father about it, he's a physician. I said, what is that weird electronic beeping that happens inside a person's ear? And he looked at me like I was crazy and said, there is no electronic beeping that you're going to hear in your ear.
I used to hear that too, man. That's strange. I'd hear and then sometimes it would just be a high-pitched whining sound, like really high-pitched whining sound, and it would get really, really strong, and then it would quiet down and come back, a different frequency. Do you ever get that, the high-pitched whine?
Oh, I've heard tones, high tones, and a lot more when I was a kid. During the day, this would happen in my ear. I would get tickling in my ear and high-pitched tones and these electronic little beeps. And also, I was a very borderline, like, autistic kid, and I used to see, like, colors and shapes and things manifest around people. But I don't know if that's part of this.
Yeah. You know what? My friend from Spaced Out Radio, Dave Scott, he told me that one time he was seeing geometric shapes, and at first he thought it was a headache, and then he was seeing shapes like triangles, squares, and circles, and I think he said when a circle came into his head, then the headache went away. And then he knew there was something in his backyard, and he went out there, and there was a ship that landed in his backyard. So that's their way of communicating, I do believe, is to show shapes. So they do talk to you telepathically. You're aware of that, right?
Absolutely, and they'll use tones. Just before I'm taken, sometimes I'll hear high-pitched tones, intermittent tones, or a buzzing sound.
And you are you still being abducted now, up to this day?
Yeah, I'm positive I am. Not as powerfully that I can remember it and like I'm experiencing it real time. Every once in a while, a couple times a year, I'm like in an altered state of awareness, and all of a sudden I see a gray. I'm in the presence of grays, and they're communicating with me. I'll have a sensation of great acceleration, which I associate with being taken, and sometimes I'm floating back down to the bed, and I'm aware of it, floating back down to the bed. And one time I woke up, this is about 7 years ago, I had this experience in an altered state of awareness. I woke up, and I walked out of my bedroom into the living room. I was teleported through the window down to the ground, and there was about a 25-foot wide craft hovering over the grass. The next day, in a circular area right in that spot, the grass was all, like, not burned black, but like dried up and just dead. And the grass never regrew there. Like, to this day, I looked it up on Google, actually, and there's a perfectly round circle of, like, where the grass won't grow. Like, there's grass, but it's, like, dark, it's, like, gray. It's not like, you know, it's, like, affected. The soil must have been affected.
Wow, that's freaky.
Growth of the grass.
Eric, do you think you were ever abducted, or what do you think?
You know, I don't, it's, I guess what, I haven't really, it's weird. I'm not really sure why this whole thing is such an obsession for me. I don't understand it really. It's just so interesting, and I don't know. I don't recall. I don't think I have. I guess it's possible. Maybe
I've got a test. I've got a test you can do. Okay. Now stand up, and then just jump up and down a little bit. I tricked you. You're a rabbit.
I got to confess, I did not stand up and jump up and down.
Oh, I tried to make you jump like a rabbit with the sound effects and everything. Man, almost got you.
Yeah, but I believe. I mean, for someone who has not experienced it, who has no direct evidence or direct memory of anything of this nature, I have no doubt about anything you guys are saying. I've just heard too many people tell their stories, and there's just no way that they could be made up. People that really doubt these encounters, they just haven't really taken the time to really pay attention for very long, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah. One thing that I don't know if you know this, Wolfman, is that Adam's ghost has experienced this thing which he calls co-opted abduction, which I think, is that the right word, co-op? Is that what you use, Adam?
Yeah, that's a Hopkins term, I think, co-opted.
Yeah,
Co-op.
And maybe you could tell Wolfman a story. For example, for whatever reason, I don't know if it still happens, but it used to happen where they would almost use Adam somehow to help assist these ET in facilitating abductions of other people or children that were around or in Adam's presence. You want to tell a story about that, Adam?
Yeah, I could tell you a story, and I could tell you without going to, we don't have time, but I've actually witnessed. I had people after some events come up and say they saw me in their damn house. and that happened 3 times. But on this one occasion, the story I was going to tell, they didn't witness me in the house, but this goes back to high school. It was a multiple abduction. It was a couple of, they were twins. They were a couple of years younger than me. I think I was a senior in high school. They might have been freshman or sophomore. And they're actually in my younger sister's grade. We were on the same tennis team together, so we knew each other. So one night I wake up, and I had a premonition I was going to be visited. Same old story. I was wide awake. I don't know why I did this. I don't know why I went along with it, but I rode out on my bike to this house that was just a couple blocks away where these kids lived. I was like 16, 17. Let's see, I think I was 17. And they were probably like 14 at the time, 15 maybe. And I rode to the top of this hill, and I had a UFO sighting. I remember seeing this dark circular form move over my head, and that's all I saw. It was just dark and circular. And then my consciousness was altered. It became very kind of strange and foggy, but I was still lucid. And I remember floating up to the craft, and I remember it real time, like memories I remembered the next day, but it was like really happening. And we came down out of the craft, so presumably the craft moved over to where this house was, came down out of the craft, went up the hill to the house, went into the bedroom in ball of light form. There was one twin on one bed, one twin on the other bed. They approached the bed, and the alien was in ball of light form, and I wasn't. I was standing there watching this kid sleep. Okay. So me and the being were in each other's minds, communicating telepathically, so they'd prompt me what to do. So they entered this kid's dream, and I entered his dream psychically. I'm in the dream, and in the dream I started talking to the kid. And at one point I said, "This isn't a dream." I said, "You're going to wake up." I said, "Wake up now." And he woke up. He wasn't fully awake, but he woke up from the dream, and he saw me staying there. He didn't see an alien. He saw me, so he wasn't afraid. And I said, my friends want to show you something. Come with me. I want to show you something. My friends want to show you something. So he came willingly. We go out of the bedroom. We actually floated out, so we must have teleported out, and through the glass doors. We went up into a craft. I remember being on a craft. I remember seeing both twins sitting there. They had some sort of an apparatus on their head, and I've seen this before. I don't know, it was some kind of mental procedure. They do like visualizations. I don't know why they were studying their minds, if they were putting information in or getting information from them. But there's this intense communication going on with them. I was just standing there observing it. And then they went back, and that's about, there's further details, but I don't want to talk about it, but that's the gist of it, where I was used as a go-between, so they wouldn't see an alien and be totally freaked out, apparently. And I remember being on craft sometimes, and they would just prompt me, like, calm her. It'd be a woman a lot of the times, and I would be, like, stroking her hair, and just like the aliens did to me, like, don't be afraid, just, you're doing good. Stay calm, everything's going to be okay, that type of thing. Apparently I was really good at it because they kept using me over and over to do that. It was quite something. That went on for years, like 30 years. I have like over 200 memories of doing that. Co-opted abductions.
Kurt Green is trying to phone in. I'm trying to get him on here.
I'm not going to be able to go a huge amount of time longer because it's getting so late, but I can go a little longer.
Okay.
I'm fading out. I'm getting tired.
Okay. Well, it's whenever you feel like it. Maybe we should take a little break here, and I've been dying to hear this song by Adam and the Ants. You like Adam and the Ants?
Yeah, I do. I haven't heard them in a long time, actually.
Okay, I'll put this on, and then if you feel like going longer after, or if you don't, then it's okay.
Yeah, I can go till I fall asleep. I'm talking and I'm getting more sleepy as I talk, but yeah, I'll take a break and I don't know. You know, my cats are distracting me too. They keep jumping up on my desk.
Okay, we're going for a little musical break here. All right, the Adam and the Ants, Puss in Boots.
Pussycat's going to London, looking for love for fame. I wish somebody told her, city folks ain't the same. Pussycat carries a postcard, I want the big city be nice. That's the place with the action. Gonna have